Well, good day guys, we're back in a WC room and we have a EVO, or at least a Zen toilet in front of us. And the EVO 61, the EVO 70 and the Zen 61 all have the same system. Now what I'm going to show you today is how to remove the valve, adjust it for more flush so that you can override the factory settings of the minimal flush that the well's water rating requires. So we'll go ahead now and remove the cistern lid. Now the cistern lid just sits there on there by gravity. Put it down on the seat. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is turn off the water and then give it a flush. Empty the water out. Okay, I'm just going to turn the light on my camera. Okay, here we go. Okay, so this particular one has already been adjusted, but I'm going to show you how to do it anyway. So let's get this hose out of the way. Okay, to remove it, what you're going to do is twist it around about a quarter turn pretty much. It can get a little bit fiddly, but if we turn it around like so, and you just give it a wee wriggle just to make sure that you're in the right place. There you go. That particular one was not quite half a turn. So there you go, and I'll give you a close-up of the valve cage. So you can see the little tags where the tags come out. There and there is where these tags catch. Rightio, so what we have now is this flap is here covering the hole to a chamber that's inside, and inside that chamber you have a full flush float. So the way it works is that I'll just put that back up like that. So that's the factory setting, and what happens is that as the toilet flushes, the water level comes down, and as the water level is going down, obviously it's pouring out this hole because there's water in this chamber. Once the water is all out, the float then drops. However, when you shut this door off, or this flap, it takes a longer duration for the water to empty from this chamber. And what happens then is that it takes a lot longer for the float to drop, which then in turn causes the piston to drop down onto its seat. So that's adjustment number one. Adjustment number two, like I say, this has already been done, but I'll show you anyway. So adjustment number two, the well's water rating would normally be up further to get the 4.5 litre flush. So what you got to do is push this little button in. So this is the float here, and it's on this rod. So that float needs to be adjusted down. So we'll click that right down. So I've just pushed that in and pushed it down. That's the full flush float. This is the half flush float. Now we've adjusted that as well, so we even get full flush on half flush. That can be used in a commercial environment where half flush is just simply not practical. But if we adjust the half flush again back to where it should be, which is around about half, you can see this float, this half flush float, is a lot higher than the full flush. So as the water comes down, it will drop about there, and it'll leave that much water depth in the bottom of the cistern. Whereas the full flush, it'll continue down until the float drops, and of course it empties out the little chamber in there, which it does end up emptying out. It just takes a lot longer, which means that the piston drops later, which therefore empties more water. So that's the way that you adjust that valve, and then just putting it back in again is simply just putting it in, and these here are like little spring clips, or the plastic springs, and so when you put it in, you just clip it straight down. And if we have a look at our button set, the button set is the full flush on the right hand side. So we'll twist that round, and then we can put that back in. It clips down like so. Right, that just needs to be pushed straight down, and that should work. So that's the outlet flush valve sorted. Okay, so now what we're going to do is adjust the inlet valve, and it's very simple. I haven't got a screwdriver with me, but you can see on there is a little cross section on that little knob, which you can turn with a number 2 Phillips screwdriver. or you can get in there and you can actually turn it by hand. What that does is that adjusts the float, so the float will be right at the very top. So obviously the water fills up, the float stops at its maximum travel. So this one here has already been adjusted, so we don't need to do that. So what we need to do now is turn the water back on and test it. So that's the cistern filled back up, and we'll just test it by pushing the ball flush. So you can see that it empties most of the way out. There's about a centimetre in the bottom, but it's a lot more than what it was from the factory, which leaves about 3 to 4 centimetres in the bottom. So all we need to do now is put our lid back on and make sure the buttons are adjusted. Yep, there's very minimal free play, less than 5 millimetres. That's what you want. You don't want it really tight, otherwise it'll run on. So hopefully that helps in adjusting your EVO or Zen toilet cisterns for more flush. Thanks for watching.